What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moxie Bets, presented by Caesar Sportsbook. I'm Katie Mox, and today we are talking Super Bowl between the 49ers and the Chiefs with our guys, our OGs, Danny Brasco and Kenny Bets Big. Fellas, y'all already know. I'm excited. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, it seems that way. But I know you're pumped, you know. It's been a long road. I would have been happier if we had the Ravens versus the Niners, but it doesn't always go your way, you know.
I think the entire world would have been happier if it was the Ravens, as everyone seems to be revolting against Taylor Swift, which I don't necessarily understand. But I do feel like the Chiefs are the new Patriots. And when you win so often and you're so dominant, people are tired of seeing you win. And I think that is the category that Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have fallen into, especially this year. People were still kind of on the train last year. And now I think people are like, okay, we've seen this movie.
Yeah, especially Katie, it feels like the Chiefs are all of a sudden like they're the underdogs in the Super Bowl. Like, are the Niners the sneaky favorite? The odds would seemingly flip the other way, considering the public perception, how dominant they are, how they are the new franchise team. Really odd, interesting odds for your Niners, who made it all the way to the big dance.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that, because even though the 49ers are, by the way, guys, we are filming this episode Friday at 12 p.m. It will air on Monday. So things can shift, things can move. Make sure you check in with Caesar Sportsbook to get the most accurate odds when you place your bets. But right now, as it stands, San Francisco minus 130 on the money line. This total is now 47.5. Even though the Niners are the favorite, they still feel like the underdogs, because that's exactly what you said. Everybody talking, and by the way, rightfully so, saying you cannot fade Patrick Mahomes in this spot. Everyone should have learned their lesson last year when you bet the Eagles. And I get it. And I completely understand. Now, you know, I'm never going to do that just because it's my actual team, but I don't fault anyone. I wouldn't be, look, I want the 49ers to win. I think the 49ers can win. Would I be surprised if the Chiefs win? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But when you look at this full game, Kenny, and look, you are my 49ers mush. So I don't know. By the way, Kenny is an incredible bettor, makes so much money, does it for a living. Homie is driving a Range Rover, has a very expensive dog, does everything. Well, it was totaled. Yes. Yeah. Well, we now call him Left Eye. He got in a car accident. By the way, it literally just looks like your eyebrow, but there is a is a scar there. Real quick, do you want to tell us what happened to you?
So I was just, it was raining really bad here. I was just driving. It was like a back road, going around a bend, car started hydroplaning. Next thing you know, I'm headed right towards a telephone pole.
Oh no.
And, it's like a back road with a lot of trees and like woods and stuff. So I didn't want to do too much and then go into like the trees. So I was just like, all right, I guess I'm hitting the pole. And, my airbag didn't go off properly. So my face smashed into my steering wheel, and next thing you know, blood all everywhere, and I don't think that people want to hear all that.
But like you said, you still got your teeth, you still got your face, and at least it's your eyebrow too, because your hair will grow over it. You saw a plastic surgeon, which is, by the way, people, if you ever get in a car accident or an accident with your face, do not let the ER people stitch you up. Go to a plastic surgeon, because otherwise you'll have a crazy scar. So you did everything right.
Yeah, the difference is, so like I had about 50 stitches.
Yeah,
it took me about 50 stitches, and everyone was like, 50 stitches. But that's the difference of going to a plastic surgeon, because, you know, in the ER, they'll just put like big bulky stitches in there. And then, like you said, you know, you got a nasty scar. So, you know, my mom, that's what moms do. She was there, and my girlfriend, obviously, but she sent me a picture of Jason Momoa, and she's like, you know, worst case, you'll look like him. And I mean, that's not too bad.
By the way, best case, you look like him.
I was going to leave you with a quote from The Replacements. Shane Falco, aka Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Wound heal, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever.
Yes.
That's it. No, my girlfriend likes it, though.
On that note, the one thing that Kenny does is whenever he bets against the 49ers, they win. And usually when he backs the 49ers, they don't win. So I'm hoping you're laying off a side here, at least for my sake, on this show. But what are your thoughts on this game?
So, like you alluded to, you know, you don't want to fade Mahomes like the Eagles and the Bengals and the Ravens and the game before that, the Bills. There's one big difference here. In those games, everyone was betting against Mahomes in that spot, right?
Yeah.
This time, It seems like people are like, oh, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But you ain't getting me a third time. But so when this line first opened up, I jumped on the Chiefs +2 and money line, just because I kind of thought that the line would trend down, which it did, and now it's starting to bounce back up. I personally think I'm probably going to bet the Niners. I'm probably going to hedge off of that Chiefs bet and go with the Niners here.
But then you can't mush it because you're on both sides, so I'm okay with this.
Yeah. Now I'm going to bet double on the Niners to. So it's not like I'm going to just wash even here, but it just has like when you look at the Ravens game, and Danny and I talked about this a little bit. You can watch that Ravens game over. The Ravens had no business losing that game. 6 designed rush attempts for the running backs, for the leading team in the National Football League running the ball, where the Bills just ran wild on the Chiefs the week prior. There was a lot of things just didn't really make sense in that game. And I think people are, the public perception is, oh, the Chiefs defense is so elite. We forget how good the 49ers offense is and the run scheme that Shanahan is going to draw up with, Debo and McCaffrey. And I just think it's going to be a lot to stop that team for a full football game, right? I think the Chiefs will keep it close. It's going to be a good game, but I think at some point in time, the talent that the Niners have will show face and they'll pull away.
Danny, you agree?
It's funny because I reached out to Kenny early in the week, like right when the odds dropped. Kenny and I talk a lot, and we're oftentimes like-minded, especially when it comes to the contrarian angles. Kenny's someone who I always like his contrarian take, right? Everyone's seeing this, and they're missing this. And I did the same exact thing as him. I placed a bet right away on Chiefs +2 because we know Mahomes is 10-1-1 against the spread as an underdog and 9-3 straight up in his career. The guy is the most profitable underdog next to Lamar Jackson for his career. So it seems like an automatic bet. But like Kenny said, it's when people bet against him. It's when the Chiefs have been disregarded for most of the season. Tyreek Hill is gone. What's wrong with the offense? No one can catch a pass. Kadarius Toney's blowing games. This isn't the old. Everyone watching the show, remind yourself what you said about the Chiefs and remind yourself what you're saying about them going into the Super Bowl, because it's a 180 on opinion. I tend to agree with Kenny. Like, it feels you can't have a public underdog with 85% of the money in the biggest day in sports betting and me just walk into that. So I don't care how good Mahomes is, the best coach, the best QB. I can't do it, man. The market's screaming Niners, and Kenny gave the case why. I totally agree with him. Katie, music to your ears. Let's go 49ers.
Yeah, bang, bang, Niner gang. And look, when I look at, according to our friends over at Action Network, if you look at the splits right now, 73% of bets are on the Chiefs, only 70% of the money. So there is some sharp money starting to come in on the 49ers. I was reading an article from Patrick Everson, and he was saying he's talked to several bookmakers and that they expect money to start coming in on the 49ers. One, Vegas is too close to California for that money not start to trick in. Do either of you think, now, of course, I'm on the 49ers money line, and I agree with you. The Ravens had no business losing that game. You had Lamar Jackson trying to play hero ball out there. They completely abandoned the run. Kyle Shanahan is not going to make that mistake. They're going to run this down their throats, and they should. But do you think that based on where the money is now, and let's say maybe some money does go to the 49ers, because I'm on 49ers money line. I haven't placed that bet yet because I'm waiting to get the best value. We did see it at -120 a little bit earlier. Now it's up to -130. Do either of you think that this line could potentially get down to a pick'em?
No.
I think the books have already made their decision. Like you mentioned 70+% of the bets on the spread are towards the Chiefs. Over 80% of the bets are on the money line to the Chiefs too, which is plus money. If it goes to -2.5 for the 49ers, look, it's sports. Anything can happen, but I feel like game over, right? If there's more reverse movement that way, like you can call it the day. So I think bet Niners now is the play.
Okay.
The one thing too about this line is, we as bettors and, in the sports media, we get caught up sometimes in thinking like, oh, the public, this, that, right? The sports book's main objective is just to have equal money on both sides of the game.
Right.
The one thing about a Super Bowl that kind of makes it tough is the Niners futures, I think, are probably huge in comparison to the Chiefs futures, right?
Yep.
So that's where you get into like, wait, are the books setting a line a certain way to try and balance things out? Do they have a liability in the future market that they're trying to, dump some of the money off? Some of those things you have to really get deep into the numbers to kind of see, right? So it's not always just, oh, wait, 80% of the money is on this team. Let's just fire away. I wish we would all be living in Fiji if it was that easy, you know?
And that's such a good point, Kenny. And that was part of the article too. There's the books, the Niners winning are such a huge liability for the sports books in the futures market because they were one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, you know, one of the top three, maybe the first one in the beginning of the season or throughout the season. And so that's a huge liability for them. But there is so much money starting to pour in Kansas City that it's starting to even out, and they might still need the 49ers to win this. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're all on the Niner gang. Absolutely love to hear it. Let's get into some props because this is our Propapalooza, our props special. Again, everybody, we are filming this around noon on Friday, so check with your book, specifically our friends at Caesar Sportsbook, to get the best and most current line. Looking at these quarterbacks, you got the next GOAT versus Mr. Irrelevant. You know what you're getting from Patrick Mahomes. We've seen him now in 3 Super Bowls, right? This will be his 4th Super Bowl, I believe. Yeah, because they've won 2. And then we've got Mr. Irrelevant, who last year, cool as a cucumber, Mr. Money, good. This year, we've seen some highs and lows from Purdy. We've seen him start games kind of shaky. We've seen defenses be able to bat down a lot of his passes because he's a little bit shorter. Obviously, that's going to be something that's big for the Chiefs. We've all got Brock Purdy bets on this, which I think is interesting because you think that the surer bet to bet on is Patrick Mahomes than Brock Purdy. But we'll start with you, Kenny. What are you liking from Purdy?
Yeah, if something interesting about both these guys, right, is you can compare both of them to Tom Brady, the ultimate GOAT. Mahomes gets the comparison.
The one true GOAT, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Huh?
The one true GOAT. I know you're
the one true. Like if there's a GOAT in any, sports, it's Tom Brady. There's no debate. But Mahomes gets the comparisons because of how elite and prolific he is, and he wins in the playoffs. And then Brock Purdy gets comparisons to Tom early in his career, like, oh, he's just, a system QB. He's winning because of the defense and this and that. So it's kind of funny how both of these guys get comparisons to the best ever. I actually think Brock Purdy is going to play an amazing game. I think all the talk all year long about game manager, this, that, system QB, plays it safe, yada, yada, yada. Throw it all out the window. I know the Chiefs defense is elite, right? We saw them kind of contain the Ravens. I think the Ravens beat themselves, but I may be biased. So I think with all those weapons, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey in the screen game, 1.5 passing touchdowns, I think is an easy bet to hit with Brock Purdy. So yeah, I'm going to go over 1.5 passing touchdowns for him. I think it's minus 129, which is my birthday as well. So, we got some good vibes going there. Yep. So.
Yeah. Well, one, I like that just because I want the 49ers to score a lot of points. And 2, I do think what he proved in the second half of the NFC Championship game is such good momentum and a confidence builder to go into this Super Bowl matchup with the Chiefs. What are you looking at, Danny?
Yeah, it is funny that we all are on Brock Purdy props. Happy belated birthday, Kenny.
Purdy. Oh, yes. Happy belated.
Thank you, guys.
You know what? You're live for this birthday. So it's probably an even more special birthday.
Yeah. But I'm 33 now, so I feel old,
Hey, man.
I'm not even going to say what my age is, Kenny. Get out of here.
You made it a third of the way through, bro. You're doing great. Yeah, Purdy, system QB, right? And I was certainly someone who has been critical of him when he goes to the top 5, ESPN, morning conversation around the round table. And then he goes to the bottom 5. I'm like, well, guys, relax. It was the Baltimore Ravens. He was seeing ghosts out there. I think he's closer to the middle. But he's got more upside in the sense against this Chiefs defense that might get a good pass rush with Chris Jones and George Karlaftis. Those guys been causing problems. And what has Purdy done to shed that system QB kind of mold is use his legs. And he was so impressive against the Lions on the ground, right? That's what sets him apart, is his athleticism, is his instincts, his ability to just sort of make a read, and instead of throwing it across your body back over the middle of the field, Purdy, stop doing that and just run the ball. So that's when it's going well. I like Purdy over 12.5 rush yards. He did it so well last week. It was the key factor in coming back and beating the Lions. Let's do it again, Brock.
I love that too. And I've seen quite a few people on this prop, and rightfully so, because of what we saw in that NFC Championship game. And we do know that this Chiefs defense can bring a lot of pressure up front. And so I think they're number 2 in sacks. So they're going to put the pressure on him. He's going to need to scramble. And like you said, he's gutsy that way, and he'll run and make some off-schedule throws too. So this line seems too low for me for the rushing prop. So I agree. Interestingly enough, I'm the only one fading Purdy in this game. and I'm the Niner fan, but I'm going to take him under on his passing yards. And this is just credit to Kansas City's defense, right? They allowed under 200 yards per game on average this season. You look at Lamar Jackson in the AFC Championship game, and he threw for 272. But like we've said, that was a mistake. He was out there playing hero ball when they should have just been running the ball. That is how you can beat Kansas City. Their pass defense is elite, but how you can beat them is on the ground. I don't think that Kyle Shanahan makes that mistake. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. You look at Josh Allen and Tua, they both threw under this mark, under 200 yards. So I don't know that he gets close to that number. And like we said, the Chiefs can create pressure. They're number 2 in sacks and in pressure rate. So I think we see a huge game from CMC. I hope that we get those 2 passing yards. Maybe we get some, in and around the goal line in the red zone, but just stay under 245, Purdy, huh? Any thoughts on that, guys?
No, yeah, I totally agree with you there. Game script wise, right? There's a few different angles that could play into that. If the Niners, which we all think are going to win the game, if they jump out early, Purdy's not going to be thrown all over the field. If they lean on their strengths and actually do what they should do, hand it off to CMC, Debo, and use that run game, Purdy's not throwing for 250. So yeah, I like that bet a lot.
Yeah, same. I think the only way it loses is if like George Kittle or Debo breaks off like an 80-yarder, right? Which can happen. They're great after the catch, breaking tackles. But yeah, run heavy. McCaffrey, 20 carries, right? Purdy should stay under this number.
Yeah, those the Yak brothers. Okay, so let's look at running backs now. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is the belle of the ball here, but you got Pacheco, who has really been incredible for the Chiefs as well. You still got people like Debo Samuel that are kind of the wide back, and Elijah Mitchell. So and then there's what not MVS. There's Clyde Edwards-Helaire that they got over there on the Chiefs. So there's quite a few running backs in this game. Danny, who are you targeting?
Yeah, I got to go run CMC here. But funny enough, I'm going with a receiving prop on Christian McCaffrey. So running back props, but I'm going receiving yards. I like the over 34.5. It's a little high of a number, but I do believe that he's going to get targeted a good deal in the pass game. Check down safety route for Purdy when he feels that Chiefs defensive front rush him. And McCaffrey's been getting targeted like crazy towards the end of the season. 5+ targets in a number of games in the playoffs. So I think it's an unexpected way to use the workhorse back. They're going to be looking to stack the box and stop the run. Why not let him leak out to the flat and maybe get some yards after the catch to McCaffrey? So I like him to be targeted in the pass game.
McCaffrey's going to have a monster game. He just has to. McCaffrey MVP, I think that's the bet to go if we're looking at the MVP market. But what are you thinking, Kenny?
I like the McCaffrey one. I was actually looking at the combo, like over rushing and receiving, because I'm with you. I think he has an absolute monster game. He has to for them to win.
Yep.
I think the MVP bet is definitely live. I was looking at him and Debo. I think either of those guys, if like Debo gets active in the run game, I think he could, put himself in that conversation. So like Danny, I'm actually going to go with a pass catcher. He took a running back to catch yards. I'm taking a receiver to have rushing yards. So I'm going to go Travis Kelce over half a rushing yard.
That's it? That's the line?
Wow.
That's the line. It's plus 550. Well, plus 548 on Caesars.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
I can see him with a goal line rush or something.
Exactly, right? We've seen Andy Reid draw up these crazy goal line packages where Kelce does weird little things down there. Or like last week we saw where Mahomes hit him with a lateral pass. It counts as a run. He had 5 rushing yards last week. So I think he could get this in a number of ways. And half a yard. I mean, come on, dude. Like, even if there's a big 4th down, you put Kelce run the ball or something. Come on, why not?
They could run like full house formation, give it to him like a fullback. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. This is the biggest game of the year. T Swift probably in the building. All the Swifties watching. You don't think Kelce's getting the ball? Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Those odds at plus 548. It's just, you have to take it.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah, at least something. Like, even if you're sitting home and you're putting a couple pizza money parlays in, like you put a 550 in your parlay and that leg cashes, like you're sitting nice. So
yeah, I love that. I wouldn't have even thought to look at that, Kenny, and that's why you got to tune in here to Moxie Bets. I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey too, and it's so funny because Christian McCaffrey to get a touchdown is the most automatic thing in the world. So much so that at Caesars Sportsbook right now, it's minus 400.
Oh my God.
Minus 400, which is insanity and such a sucker bet. And that so many people are putting that in a parlay. And honestly, I don't I understand why you're doing it, but like don't do it. Do you know what I mean? But like actually don't do it. So instead, if you want to get in on the action for Christian McCaffrey and a touchdown, which we know is happening, let's take him to get an anytime touchdown in the first half. This is at plus 130. And what I like about this is if you look at his splits, right? One, he's had back-to-back games with 2+ touchdowns, right? So he's getting in the end zone. We know that's happening. If you look at his first half touchdowns versus his second half touchdowns, in the first half this season, 11 rushing touchdowns, 4 receiving. Second half, 3 and 3. So the discrepancy there is like this guy gets out and he scores first, or at least in the first half. So at plus 130, that's a lot better than minus 400 if you want to get in on the Christian McCaffrey touchdown prop.
Isn't it crazy how the betting market has changed over the years? Like 3 years ago or whenever the anytime touchdown bets kind of started popping up, you would never, if you saw someone like minus 130, that was insane. To see McCaffrey at minus 300 or minus 400, it's just crazy. Yeah, you can't be betting that.
Well, and the thing is too, like let's look at to score 2 or more. So if for McCaffrey to score 2+ touchdowns, that's also at plus 170. I don't hate that bet either because again, back-to-back games, 2 touchdowns. If Christian McCaffrey is going to get the MVP, which I think that he will, he's going to get 2 touchdowns.
You very well could. At that point, you might as well bet MVP because Kenny's right. 2+ touchdowns at plus 170. A couple of years ago, that's plus 3,000. You know, like that's nuts to me. Maybe not on McCaffrey, but the market has really changed.
Let's see what the MVP market says. Tooling around here.
I think Purdy's plus 200. McCaffrey's like plus 450, I think.
Okay, well then at that, if you think, okay, yes, fair. If you think he's going to get 2 touchdowns, bet him for MVP. Because if he gets 2 touchdowns for the 49ers, he's likely getting the MVP and you get much better value there. But all I'm saying is with this, if you want to get in on the Christian McCaffrey touchdown prop market, there's other things besides just the single touchdown. Okay, so let's move on to pass catchers here. We're all going for it. I love this. I thought I was gonna have to fight you guys.
We're Niners heavy. We're Niners, scaring me a little.
But you know what? It's the 3 of us against the world because everybody else is on the Chiefs here. So that's what makes me feel a little bit better about this. But I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel. What a game that he had in this last game. And what I say is when the going gets tough, the 49ers get Deeboing, right? We saw him come out in that second half and control the game. When they needed a comeback win, it was get the ball to Deebo Samuel, let's get the tempo going, and let's make stuff happen. And that's exactly what this guy does. You even said when you're like, oh, are you going to be protecting? He's like, I'm not protecting anything. This guy absolutely wants it. So give me Deebo Samuel over 4.5 receptions. I just think that he's going to have a hell of a game and they're going to get the ball to him at least 5 times.
The corners for the Chiefs don't worry you a little bit there?
The corners for the Chiefs worry me, but they could do that, like screen passes, a little shovel pass here and there. Like they use him so many different ways. Like I don't think he's getting. I'm not on any Ayuk props, right? Because Ayuk is the deep ball guy. He's the deep ball guy. He's the guy outside the numbers. I worry about him because the secondary, they're very good at tackling and they're very good at breaking up passes. But you can use Deebo in creative ways that aren't deep balls that I think he can be successful in. So it's already juiced to minus 133 too, which is pretty high for one of these props. But Danny, you're looking at juice.
Kyle Juszczyk, Katie. I had to get a juice bet in here because every time I've been watching a clutch moment in the 49ers game, and I think it's George Kittle who got a few receiving yards to cash me a prop. Nope. It's Kyle Juszczyk popping up and making a random play out of nowhere. And he's a fullback. He's a fullback that gets utilized more than your typical fullback, right? He's a guy that Purdy and the Niners now trust to be a pass catcher. So look for him in that moment when you need a conversion on 3rd down, maybe even 4th down, right? That random receiver that you just didn't account for while you're tracking Deebo and everybody else. Kyle Juszczyk over 3.5 receiving yards. That's going to be 1 catch. We need to catch this, y'all. Give me the juice man to get over.
Well, and by the way, credit to the Kansas City pass defense. Like you said, when everybody else is covered and Juszczyk is randomly open, he's going to get the ball every single time. So I love this bet. And I love what you're about to say because you're on George Kittle. Kenny.
Yeah. So, well, one, I like Danny's bet because Kyle Juszczyk or whatever, however you say his last name, his wife is actually getting more talk than he is.
Yes. And it's her 30th birthday on the Super Bowl. Do it for your wife. Do it for Kristen.
But yeah, I'm going George Kittle. Katie, we've talked about this on the show over the last few years many times. When George Kittle is going up against another elite tight end, it seems like that's when he has his biggest games. So yeah, there he is, right? All the talk about who's the better tight end. Is it Kelsey? Is it Kittle? We've seen it time and time again. When things get tough, that's Brock Purdy's guy.
Yep.
So yeah, 46.5 yards. I think Kittle's in line for a monster game. So I touched on the Kansas City D-backs. I think they're going to put a lot of emphasis on shutting down Ayuk and trying to slow down Debo.
Yep.
And I think the field will be open for Kittle to, catch a couple balls. And we've seen it, time and time again, where he takes the ball from the 40-yard line and he runs 60 yards all the way to the end zone. So I'm on George Kittle over here, and I'll probably take him for a touchdown.
I love both of those things, and I bet this already too. And when you look, the interesting thing about Kittle is because he's very boom or bust, right? Because he is your traditional tight end, whereas Kelsey, I feel like, is more of a receiver. He's going to get the catches. He's going to get the yards. Sometimes George Kittle has 3 touchdowns and like 100 yards, and sometimes he's got nothing, but he's blocking. I mean, we saw him pancake Aiden Hutchinson in the last game multiple times, giving him hell. And so he had a down game in this last game. I believe he only had like 3 receptions. But to your point, when the pocket starts to collapse, Purdy looks for Kittle, and that's exactly where he thrives. And if you remember in the last Super Bowl, I'm sure you've seen the clips, there's George Kittle being like, I will be back here. I will be back here with a vengeance. You're not going to get the best of me. George Kittle is having a game, people. I love this, and I also love it for a touchdown. But I just gave out Debo because I gave the Kittle thing earlier this week, so I got to spread it out a little bit here. All right, now for a fun one, special teams or defensive props. And I'll just go ahead and say I've got a long shot for this one. I am going to go Moody Ward, Charvarius Ward, for an interception. This is at plus 550. So he's got 5 interceptions this season, tied for the 4th best in the league at his position. Mahomes has had 14 interceptions this year, none in the postseason, so he's been clean. But he has been picked off 4 times in just 3 Super Bowl appearances. 2 versus San Francisco and 2 versus Tampa Bay. He did not throw a pick last year against the Eagles. And Ward knows Mahomes' tendencies better than anyone else. He played with him on the Chiefs for 4 seasons. If anyone is going to pick him off, it's going to be Ward at plus 550. I love it.
That's so interesting, because I was thinking to myself, wait, wasn't Ward on the Chiefs? And then you beat me to it. That's right. Hey, who knows the guy that they've been playing the practice squad against week in and week out, right?
And it's a long shot bet, but I believe that he's going to throw a pick, and I'm going to roll my dice with Ward. Danny, what are you thinking?
So I'm going to go chalk here. I'll let you guys take the fun plus money ones. I'm just going to pick something that I think is very likely to happen, and that's Nick Bosa to record a sack. It's minus 115. This is going to cash if you get half a sack. So if he gangs up with a teammate, gets half a credit for half, you still cash this bet, right? Counts as recording a sack. Bosa's just a monster. I don't know who's stopping him. Massive game. Spotlight on him. Don't need to go too deep in the analysis. Bosa's getting his hands on Mahomes, I think. As shifty and scrambly and crafty as Mahomes is at avoiding the pressure, I think eventually this pocket collapses on him, and it's Bosa's doing.
Love it. Kenny.
Funny, I was actually going to go Bosa, then I saw you had him. So I was like, let me go Chase Young. And who knows, maybe we'll cash like the first game they played together where they had a sack together. Maybe we'll get lucky together, But yeah, I'm going to go with Chase Young sack plus 210. Plus 210 on one of the best edge rushers in the league. I think there's going to be a lot of focus trying to slow down Bosa, which, good luck with that.
He gets held all the time, refs, just so you know.
Yes. Yeah. And we've seen the refs, man. The refs favor the Chiefs a lot. Mm-hmm. There were so many missed calls, and I still haven't had a good night's sleep since that Ravens game. The amount of money that I would have won had the Ravens won the Super Bowl would have been egregious. Probably wouldn't have even known what to do with myself. Wow. But I was so close, but yet so far.
So by the way, we'll get into this. Who do you blame? Is it the play calling? Is it Lamar? Is it just the Chiefs are so good? Who do you blame?
I think it's a little bit of the play calling, a little bit of Lamar, but also like the receivers. Like, for example, the pick where he threw to Likely, like if on the McAfee show, they had Darius Butler, I think is his name. Yeah, I think Darius Butler, where he breaks down the plays. Like, Likely was the only guy even running on the play. There's nowhere to throw the ball. But if you look at the play, there's not a guy 15 yards from Lamar Jackson with a hole big enough to drive a truck through. So why is he not running, right? We see the clip of Odell on the sideline telling him, hey, man, when you use your legs, you change the whole game. start doing it. And he just didn't do it for whatever reason. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, but then you got Zay Flowers flexing on Snead, and then Snead punches it out at the goal line. It's like, man.
But he's right. It was a complete mental collapse. The penalties, the headbutts, getting the flat. We can't get a call from the ref. So now let's play our most immature, mental game of the season. And then, like Kenny mentioned, Lamar was so in his head, like just refused to take off. Wanted to be that pocket passer. Todd Monken not drawing up the run. Lamar not running when the opportunities are there. And then Zay Flowers fumbles at the goal line. Game was over. We had no momentum at all.
And then even when they were doing good things, they were doing bad things, like Roquan Smith at the end, taking that penalty. Great IQ play, great play. But why are you blowing the guy up for a 15-yard penalty? You don't need to do that.
Right.
So even when they were doing things right, they were doing it wrong. Just costing the game. Everything about that game was bad.
So, all right. So you've got Chase Young to record a sack. It's at plus 210. I love this, especially because Chase Young needs to step up. A lot of the problem, in that first half of the Detroit game was the edge rushers, and some of that falls on Chase Young. So I feel like he's got the pressure, and he's got to have a big game. So I like this. I like the odds here at plus 210 because I believe in you, Chase Young. And I hope that we get a whole squad right on this. We get my interception, and then y'all record the sack together.
These are all very complimentary because Chase Young's pressure or Nick Bosa's pressure could create a sack for one or the other guy. They could do it together. We cash on one. Or we could both create pressure. Mahomes got to get one off. And there's your boy, Charvarius Ward, for the plus 550 pick.
I like it. Always working on lines you have, Danny.
I know. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We come back. We're talking novelties, exotics, coin toss, national anthem, you name it. We're watching Moxie Bets. We'll be right back. Why should you bet with Caesars Sportsbook? 2 words, Caesars Rewards. Every bet brings you closer to the type of benefits only Caesars can offer. Hotel stays, VIP experiences, sports and concert tickets, and more. It's not just an app, it's an empire. All right, guys, back here on Moxie Bets, presented by Caesars Sportsbook with our guys Danny Brasco and Kenny Bets Big, talking the big game. So we've talked some regular props. Now let's talk some of the novelty props. And of course, you got to start with the coin flip, right? That's something that I feel like everybody bets on. Both heads and tails is minus 105. Tails never fails. So I'm going tails. Kenny, I see you're on this. Danny, you're taking heads. Why?
Danny must have had a weird childhood because, everyone knows tails never fails.
Of course it never fails, but I had to be the contrarian, guys, and I came up with a new saying, heads gets the bread. What do you think right now? Hold on. Oh, it was tails. Jesus.
Because tails never fails. That's why. That's why. Okay, but whatever. So you're just contrarian, or is there any? Look, I'm doing this because tails never fails. There's nothing in this besides like you do what hits.
I'm doing this because everyone's doing tails never fails. It's my fate of the public, and I have no idea if that's actually true.
All right.
You think the NFL's got a double-sided head coin out there?
It's rigged, Kenny. It's rigged.
All right, so there's several things that you can bet on this game. There's the national anthem, which is at 90.5 seconds right now. That's what the line is, over and under. A lot of people bet on that. The coin toss we just talked about. Gatorade color. I hit my Gatorade color in the 2021 Super Bowl with the Rams. I said it was blue, which is why I'm going red for this one, because if the 49ers win, which we think that they will, I'm going red. I think that everybody is a narcissist and they like their own color poured on their coach. Any thoughts on the Gatorade colors?
Oh, yeah. Well, didn't we all cash blue that Rams Super Bowl when we were all working together back in the day on that old show? Yeah, that was awesome. I like clear or water plus 2,000, Katie.
Wow. Has that ever been done?
4 times. And it happened 2017, Bill Belichick's Super Bowl. I'm thinking coaches that have won it already, they've gotten the Gatorade bath. Maybe it's time for them. But you know what? It's sticky. My clothes.
But then you're betting Kansas City.
I'm not necessarily. Oh, you're right. But you're right. Well, by that logic, I am. However, I also believe, and our guy Mike McClure over at Sportsline mentioned this. He says, well, think about how many coolers are on the sideline. Not all of them have water in them. Some guys, not all of them have Gatorade in them. Some guys don't drink Gatorade. So perhaps a water cooler is picked up instead of a Gatorade. You never know. I'd like that kind of just mathematical, how many Gatorade to water ratio per cooler.
You have any thoughts on this, Kenny?
Mine, I mean, I have a little bit more of a sound angle than Danny.
Okay.
So I had blue.
A sound angle on a Gatorade color is amazing.
Yeah. So I had blue at first. But then I was thinking about it. Who beat the 49ers worse than anyone else this year was the Ravens. And who did the Chiefs just beat to get to the Super Bowl? It was the Ravens. And what a little smack in the face it would be when you see the picture of Andy Reid or Shanahan getting purple Gatorade dumped all over him.
Wow.
So, why not? Just a little.
What I find interesting is y'all are on the 49ers, but your Gatorade picks are based on the Chiefs.
No, mine is based on both teams. Both teams played the Ravens. One beat them, one lost.
So you think the 49ers would pour? Okay, I thought you meant this was I heard you saying that the Chiefs would be trolling the 49ers by like showing them purple because like these are the two biggest losses.
Oh no, I was just saying because both all for the last few weeks we heard about the Ravens are the best team and all this talk. Again, this is a Gatorade bet, so there's no angle that is valid for this unless you know someone that's putting the Gatorade in the coolers. So I'm just going with a little gut feel here.
So okay, so let's talk about more of like the team related ones. You've got first team to call a timeout, team to receive opening kickoff, which of course decides the coin toss or whatever too. Any thought on who calls a timeout first? I know that if it's Sean McVay, you always take him. That guy's always going to call the first timeout. I'm not sure about Andy Reid and Shanahan, who's more likely to call a timeout first.
I don't have a timeout angle. If you do, Kenny, I'll let you take that one. But I saw a challenge bet. Who's going to be the team to use the first challenge? And I read some data that Andy Reid challenges a lot more at a higher clip than Kyle Shanahan by like a very good deal. So I thought just based on the numbers, that might be a good play. But Kenny, you have timeout angle?
Timeout. I mean, if you want to think about it, like put any try to logic to it. I mean, you got a quarterback who's been here 3 times versus a guy that's never played in a game of this magnitude. Probably more likely that Brock Purdy is going to get rattled under pressure early. And maybe they got to burn a quick one to, let them regroup.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, that honestly, that makes sense. So I take, 49ers to, okay, wait. So I'm trying to find one that's got like or Danny, you've got some bets, right? On like because Usher is doing the halftime.
That's right.
You can bet on the amount of songs. You can bet on the time, which I believe the time. So the Super Bowl halftime show typically lasts between 12 and 15 minutes. However, the performance itself usually lasts around 13 minutes. In addition to setting up and taking down the stage, it takes time. So halftime closer to 25 minutes. What's the line on that, Danny?
You can bet on the total time that the halftime show takes. Fascinating. I was looking at Usher props and sort of things that you mentioned, like what the first song is he'll do. I do love those like national anthem over-unders. How long were the Super Bowl? You start looking back at all the old singers. How long did she sing when she did the World Series? And how long did Dr. Dre's take? You start handicapping all the most ridiculous things. Which
will Snoop Dogg have weed, right? That was a big one.
They did not. They didn't cash that because he like went off to the side and like rolled something up.
I know.
Apparently that didn't cash. But all sorts of weirdo props. Katie, I got one for you. Okay? Tell me how this loses. Okay. First song for Usher to perform. Plus
I know. Did you hear me? I was like, it's
you literally said it. You said it. That's how you open the set. Yeah. And then Little John comes out.
Little John's he's a resident DJ in Vegas too.
There you go. Kenny's got the inside info here on these novelty props. Another good angle there. So Lil Jon, back door or back in the backyard already.
I love that. But like, imagine they're setting up the stage. Everybody's sitting in there quiet. Now all of a sudden you hear do 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 do. Everybody's up. Everybody's up. Like can't lose.
And I was thinking like, is it going to be like an oldie, like You Remind Me, or like a classic? But you got to get hyped before you throw in the nostalgia. So to start it.
Yes. Yeah. By the way, is that the favorite, or what are the odds on that?
It's chalk. It's plus 225, but
you know what? But it's a can't lose, which every time I say that, it's a loser. But I love Usher and I love so many of his songs. I can't imagine anything hyping people up out the gate than that song. Although we should find out what his first song is at his residency.
True. My boo was plus
Little John is the DJ there.
Oh, for his residency?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Little John is the DJ at one of the hotels in Vegas. that I've seen my friend, he goes out there and he's like posting Little John all the time. But
what's the line on the amount of songs? Okay, yeah,
this
sorry.
one I find it interesting, and it's shows how far sports betting has come and how far our society has come, or how far we've gone back. Maybe number of Instagram posts Usher will make during his Super Bowl halftime show.
Oh,
How's Usher making Instagram posts during his?
Well, it's got to
show?
be his team.
Yeah, I know, but like, is that really what they're thinking? Like, oh, Usher's, let's start getting Instagram posts up, right? Like, what world this has become?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Okay, wait, hold on. There's also a ton of, you could bet on a lot of Taylor Swift props, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
she's coming to this game. It's like, will Travis Kelce propose to her?
Katie, this was opening at minus 250 in Canadian
yes?
sports books. It's up to minus 3,000. I know people who are ready to call a friend in Canada or take a flight with suitcases of money and place everything on the no.
Dude, nothing would be
on the no. Yeah, because that's just okay. There's one book that lists odds of plus 2,200 that Swift and Kelce will announce they're expecting a baby on Super Bowl Sunday. What is wrong with us, guys? What is wrong with us that you could gamble on if he's going to propose or if they're going to announce that they are pregnant? Stop.
Like, outrageous. There's no chance that that's how Taylor Swift's announcing she's pregnant with a baby.
How about who will be shown first during the national anthem? Is it Travis Kelce, or excuse me, Jason Kelce, or Taylor Swift? So Taylor's minus 135, Jason is plus 120, or a tie plus 350 if they're sitting next to each other.
Let me ask you guys this. And I've heard some talk about she has like a concert in Japan or something like that she may not make it. You know, we know Taylor's got her jets and she's out polluting the world, so she'll make it for sure. But how crazy would it be, right, if she's not there for the first half? All the talk is Taylor's not here, and she shows up for a halftime song with Usher. How epic would that be?
That would be unbelievable. But I think. And it's so funny, right? Because we can talk about the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift thing probably ad nauseum, and we already have. I think Taylor Swift enjoys not being necessarily the center of attention.
She is, though.
I mean, in the relationship, being the supportive girlfriend, going and showing up for, because she's dated guys that are like actors that we've never heard them in anything, but like she's never been able to show up for another person and just be the girlfriend and be there and cheer on. And it's his thing and you're there for him. And yes, they show you all the time and you are the biggest star. But like, I just feel like she is enjoying being a girlfriend and not being like, this is my thing and they need to support me and I'm doing, and so I don't think that she's going to want to do the Super Bowl and take or the halftime show and take away from him at all.
Yeah. Interesting. Which is one of the reasons I heard she didn't, but how would she have known the Chiefs were going to be in it?
Or the Chiefs did. I mean, she's turned down the Super Bowl halftime show multiple times apparently. Yeah. And, I don't know. All right. So
I do have one for you.
To be honest, like I know there was a lot of hype around her tour she did, but I didn't know Taylor Swift was as famous as she is. This is crazy.
Oh, global superstar.
Yeah, I think a lot of sports fans found out like just how we didn't realize, and then it bled into our world, and we were like, "Wow, this is a megastar." Yeah. I like Taylor Swift to be shown on camera over 5.5 times.
Oh, yeah.
165. I know it's juice, but like it might happen 40 times. So
what are the odds for that?
Minus 165, but like that 5.5, bro, they're gonna show her 50 times.
Yeah,
but I feel like on average they've shown her at least 5 times a broadcast when she's on. And
every time Kelce sniffs the ball, if a target is thrown in his area, they will show her after.
They've gotten better at showing kind of the celebrations and stuff before they would immediately go to her. Now they at least kind of show the field for like 2 or 3 seconds of what's happening before they pan over to her, which maybe is appreciated. All right. Any other exotics or novelties that y'all, I mean, by the way, and again, we're filming this a week ahead of time. There will be more of these things pouring in closer to game time. But yeah. And by the way, get involved in the novelty action and have fun with it, guys. But like, don't bet your face off on this kind of stuff. Like, pump the brakes. This is just fun. And just in general, and there was something that the great Todd Furman once said, which really resonated with me. The only advantage that sports bettors, have over the sports books is that they don't have to bet every single game or every single prop. So like you're going to a casino, go into the Super Bowl with a set amount of money that you want to bet. And once you're done with that, you're done with that. Don't go crazy. That would be my advice. Any advice from you guys on betting the Super Bowl? Because a lot of people are trying to play catch up, or just they're so sad that it's going away and they spend way too much money betting the Super Bowl.
Yeah, to echo you, definitely don't go crazy on like the stupid bets, right? Like I have a friend, every Super Bowl he puts $2,500 on the coin toss. It's either a great start or a terrible start for him, but he does it every single year.
Yeah.
And hey, I mean, gotta respect his commitment, right?
True,
but also
50-50 bet.
If you're going to bet props, like for example, if you want to bet a Travis Kelce over receiving yards, bet it early because those things usually from the time they're released, by the time the game goes off, they're significantly different. Like I did a show with my friend Nick and he was talking about it where last year Kelce's receptions prop opened up at 5.5. It went off at 7.5. I think he finished the game with 7 catches. So that's a huge difference, you know, if you're getting in early and you're getting a good value on a bet. And conversely, if you want to bet the under on Travis Kelce, just wait till as close to the game as possible because you'll probably get the best line that you're going to get.
Yeah, good great advice too. Props are on the move. There's no need to wait, right? The markets are moving on the guys that are favored to have to be featured in this game, so might as well grab it now. Especially like Kenny said, the popular guys. Everyone's going to hammer Kelce. Everyone's going to hammer Mahomes. So if you want to go the opposite end, wait for the line to inflate on it. But yeah, Katie's sentiment is the most important. Do not empty your bankroll on novelty props, guys. Also, like, don't get it twisted. I'm going to bet a lot of money on this game. It's the Super Bowl. It's the biggest day in sports betting. But it is one game. We do have 364 more days to bet. Don't empty the coffers just because it's a good, great, exciting game. You're going to have more opportunities to win money, guys.
Yeah, and you'll be at a Super Bowl party. You'll play Super Bowl squares and stuff. Like, just relax.
Do you get some action with your friends? I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think this is a game where you're better off almost waiting to live bet? Like maybe you'll get the Chiefs like plus 4.5 or something, like.
I mean, recently I've been finding that if you're ready and locked in on a game, you've done a good pregame handicapping, the live betting market offers way more value than anything you can get pregame a lot of the time, right? If one thing goes wrong for your side. So yeah, I'll definitely be live betting this game. You could try to middle it like Kenny's saying. If we like the Niners, the Chiefs go to over field goal underdogs. Niners win by field goal. We're middling the books there. So maybe that's a situation we can look to play.
Well, if the Niners are down at the first half, I'm definitely hammering them in the second half based on what we've seen for the last 2 games. This team just seems to come alive. I don't know what happens in the locker room. All right, the time has come, fellas, for Mox Locks for the Super Bowl. It is the very last NFL Mox Locks that we're doing with the 3 of us. Start with you, Danny.
Well, Katie, I didn't think I'd be making my Super Bowl pick this early, but got on with 2 studs here, Katie Mox, Kenny Bets Big, and we're all like-minded, so it's time to lock it in. 49ers, money line. Mahomes has been there before. He's done it, and he's the underdog again. And as many times as he's cashed as a dog, everyone and their mother knows it now. Everyone was so down on the Chiefs all season long until this moment, and now they're the darlings once again. It feels like it's time to fade them. Let's go. Bang, bang, Niner gang. For the culture, Katie.
For the culture. For the Niner gang culture. For the Yay area. I love it. Kenny, what do you want?
I'm not as brave as Danny. I am going to be probably ultimately fading Mahomes in this game, but I don't know if I'm going to go that big fading him because he is scary. But I'm going to go Travis Kelce anytime touchdowns, plus even money, minus 105, depending where you look. But death, taxes, Stafford pick, Kelce touchdown in the playoffs. They all kind of go one in the same, right? So, biggest game of the year, T Swift in the building, millions and millions of Swifties with the eyeballs glued to the game. Where's Travis Kelce going? Where's Patrick Mahomes going with the ball? He's going to Kelce, of course. So, give me Kelce anytime touchdown because I think he's inevitably going to get one.
I love that. And it's so funny. And I said this on the show last week. Travis Kelce has had his down year, right? I think he had a hard time adjusting to fame and attention and all of those things. But in this playoffs and last week, he was 11 of 11, 116 yards, a score. That is when Taylor Swift finally realized who her boyfriend is, right? Because I don't know that she knew. I don't know that she knew who he was. And this is where he's like, yo, this is who I am. And so I think, yes, him to get a touchdown, 100%. If anyone's getting a touchdown for the Chiefs, one of them is going to be Travis Kelce.
That gave me chills.
Yeah, right. That jacked me up. By the way, Katie, before you go into yours, I just wanted to say, like, for all the Swifties that have become fans and you found out who Travis Kelce was, Travis Kelce was talking that smack in the Ravens. Every single player, go back and watch his lips. He was getting under their skin. He's not just the nice boy that Donna Kelce raised. That guy's got that dog in him. So, yeah, that was kind of, although I was losing Ravens bet, I was like, damn. Kelce's
even the way they started with Justin Tucker, right, throwing his stuff off to the side, Kelce was not.
He was chirping Roquan Smith. Okay, that's not something I would advise anybody to do, and they won the game.
Look, I don't want, I think if Travis Kelce gets a touchdown, I don't want him to have such a good game that they lose or the 49ers end up losing. But I do like that he's coming back into himself, because I just think all of the attention and stuff was hard on him. He did not look like the Travis Kelce that we all know. So I was proud and happy that he was like, yeah, and by the way, I'm the man. This is me. So I love that. I'm obviously going with the 49ers money line on this one. Like I said, I haven't put it in yet. I was waiting to see if this goes down. You guys seem to think it's not getting any better. So I'm going to lay the minus 130 here with the 49ers. And one, I think that the 49ers can beat this team. The Chiefs have showed you how to beat them. Now, it's never easy. It's Patrick Mahomes, and he can pull things out of his ass, out of his hat, out of anywhere, and beat you. And we know that he can do that. But how you beat them is in the ground game. I think that Kyle Shanahan's on a redemption tour here, right? He's part of the two biggest leads that have blown in a Super Bowl, of course, against the Falcons at 28-3. And then the 49ers were up, 21-10, and then got outscored 21-0 in the second half. He's not going to make the same mistakes that the Ravens made. He's not going to make the same mistakes that even he has made in the past. Run the dang ball, as Leanne Tui says in The Blind Side. Also, when we think about running the ball, that's how you're going to win this game. Super Bowls for teams that rush more yards are 42-15 straight up. They're also 74% against the spread, including in the playoffs. The 49ers average 139 rush yards per game compared to the Chiefs that are just 109. So based on the rushing yards alone, 49ers win, baby. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's take it to the bank. Thank you so much to our guys, Danny Brasco and Kenny Bets Big. You can follow them both on social at Brasco Bets for Danny and at Kenny Bets Big for Kenny. Fellas, it has been a wonderful season 2 of Moxie Bets with the two of you. I appreciate you so much. Let's make some money and let's run it back.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, I love it. All right, this has been Moxie Bets presented by Caesars Sportsbook. We'll see you at the Super Bowl.